Alaikum everyone. My name is Huzaifah Ahmed and I'm from Rehan Korangi campus. Today, the topic of discussion with ChatGPT is how to identify and avoid toxic positivity. Hey ChatGPT, today the topic of discussion with you is how to avoid and identify toxic positivity.
That's a really important topic. Toxic positivity is when people are overly focused on always being positive to the point that they dismiss or invalidate real difficult emotions. So, we can definitely dive into what it looks like, how to recognize it, and also how to balance optimism with being real about struggles. Where would you like to start?
Since it's the topic, so we'll discuss about all of the things that you mentioned right now. But first, tell me what exactly is toxic positivity and how is it different from genuine optimism or encouragement?
Yeah, that's a great distinction to make. So, toxic positivity is basically this relentless push to see everything in a positive light, even when it's not realistic or when people are really hurting. It often sounds like just stay positive or everything happens for a reason, but it avoids the real depth of someone's experience. Genuine optimism, on the other hand, is balanced. It acknowledges challenges, allows for negative emotions, and then from there, encourages hope or progress. So, it's more about being real, but still hopeful. Does that make sense?
Yes, it totally makes sense. Thank you. Now, why does toxic positivity feel helpful on the surface but actually cause harm underneath?
That's a really key point. So on the surface, it feels good because it gives this immediate sense of relief. Like if you just look on the bright side, you avoid feeling stuck or overwhelmed. But what it actually does is it pushes people to suppress their real emotions, which can lead to feeling isolated, misunderstood, or even anxious. Over time, those unacknowledged feelings don't just disappear, they can grow and they can affect mental health. So it might feel like a shortcut to comfort, but it actually delays healing or real connection.
Okay, now what does psychology say about what happens when negative emotions are consistently dismissed or suppressed?
When negative emotions are consistently suppressed, it actually increases stress on the body, reduces emotional flexibility, and raises risks for anxiety, depression, and poor relationships. Over time, it can even lead to physical health issues like cardiovascular strain or immune suppression. Instead of pushing emotions down, it's healthier to acknowledge them, understand their message, and express them in supportive ways.
All right, what are the most common phrases and behaviors that qualify as toxic positivity? And why do people use them so automatically?
Yeah, so some of the most common phrases would be things like just think positive, everything happens for a reason, or good vibes only. And behaviors might include shutting down deeper conversations or always trying to fix things with a quick silver lining. हाँ, बिल्कुल, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, मैं
What's
यहीं हूँ।
how does toxic positivity show up in workplace, families, and social media? And what damage does it cause there?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in the workplace, it might look like a culture where any mention of burnout or stress is shut down with just stay positive or we'll get through it. In families, it can look like brushing off sadness by saying others have it worse. And on social media, it's all those perfectly curated posts with messages like just be happy or stay strong. The damage there is that it silences real struggles, makes people feel like they can't express themselves, and it can erode trust and connection in all those settings.
Okay. Can someone practice toxic positivity on themselves, on their own selves? And if so, what does that look like and how does it hurt them?
Absolutely. Yeah. People can definitely do it to themselves. So it might sound like telling yourself, I shouldn't feel this way, or I just need to be more positive. And the harm is that it stops them from really processing their emotions. It can lead to guilt, feeling fake, or just a sense of disconnection from themselves. So practicing self compassion and letting yourself acknowledge tough feelings is really the antidote here.
All right. What's the difference between healthy optimism and toxic positivity? Where exactly is that line in the between?
Yeah, that's a really fine line. Healthy optimism is grounded in reality. It acknowledges the difficulty, it allows for emotions, and it says, this is hard, but I believe I can get through it. Toxic positivity, by contrast, skips over the real experience, glosses things over, and demands forced happiness. So the line is really about being honest with yourself, acknowledging the pain, but still holding space for hope and growth.
Well, how do you respond when someone is being toxically positive towards you without damaging the relationship you have with them?
Yeah, that's a great balance to strike. I think a good approach is to gently express your feelings. You could say something like, I really appreciate your support, but right now I'm just struggling and I need to be able to sit with that. Keep it simple, calm, and focus on your experience rather than judging theirs. That way you're being honest, but you're still keeping the door open for connection.
Now, what should you say instead of toxic positivity? What does genuinely supportive language sound like?
Yeah, so genuinely supportive language is about being present and validating the other person's experience. So you might say something like, I'm really sorry you're going through this. I'm here for you and it's okay to feel what you're feeling. Or even just, this is really hard and I'm glad you're letting me know. So it's about staying present, staying real, and leaving space for all of their emotions.
All right, now, lastly, what's one thing someone can do today to check whether they're practicing toxic positivity without even realizing it?
That's a really helpful practice. One simple thing is to pay attention to your inner dialogue or the way you respond to others. If you notice yourself jumping to cheer them up quickly or dismissing a valid negative feeling with a cliche, pause and ask yourself, am I really hearing them or just trying to fix it with a silver lining? That awareness is the first step to catching it.
All right, everyone, this was the end of my discussion with ChatGPT for today. I hope you liked it. Until the next one, Allah Hafiz.